guys, I hope you're having an awesome day. So today's message, and I hope my volume is gonna do okay today because it's been acting really weird. So I'll try to hold the phone a little bit closer so you could hear me. I'm getting my audio fixed, but in the meantime, just hang in there with me, will ya? So anyway, so today's message is on creating intentions, creating goal or setting goals and holding intentions from a place of holding on loosely. So holding on loosely and not creating these intentions and not creating these goals and not putting them on such a high pedestal, not making them so important that they basically dominate you and um, they become like God over you. So a lot of times we do that. We mess up. So we think, we're taught, you should prioritize your goals. They should be really important to you, which is true. They should be important and you should prioritize them. And I don't disagree with that. I actually teach on that, and I think that that's very important, that you prioritize your goals and that you do make them important to you, that they are valuable to you. But here is where we mess up, is when we make them extremely important to where they dominate us. So everything has a priority in our life, right? So our number one priority is being in alignment with God and being in a state of love and always choosing love and having that one-on-one connection with God. That's our number one priority. Our second priority could be relationships. So with our spouse, with our kids, with our friends, connections, right? That's our second priority. And then the third one could be, our work and our finances. Or, you can flip your priorities around, but I always say that God should be number one priority. Your alignment with God should be your number one priority, because that's where life flows from. That's where everything flows from. You being connected to your source is where all of your goals, all of your intentions, all of everything that you could possibly think that you could possibly need comes from alignment. So the fruit that we look for, so the goals, the outcomes, the intentions, all those things come from alignment. But where we mess up, and what I wanted to create this message on today, was when we over prioritize the things that are valuable to us, when we make them overly important to the point where they dominate us and they control us versus us controlling them, versus us mastering them, versus us guiding them and maneuvering them and controlling them. It becomes the other way around when we over over prioritize and over making them over important in our lives. So I hope that this is making sense. But when this happens is, so when we do that, when we over prioritize a certain subject, when we make it overly important, more important than it should be. Like I said, I'm not against making your goals and your outcomes and your intentions important. I think it's very important to do that. You should make them important. But it's when you put them too high on a pedestal, that it becomes a problem. Because when something doesn't work out for you, when something doesn't go your way, when something doesn't go the way that you think or that you thought that it should go, based on the way that the importance that you put on it, and it doesn't go your way, well, what happens is you get crushed, like spiritually, emotionally, you physically, you become crushed. You become depressed, you become sad, you can become angry, you can become all these emotions, because that thing that you wanted so desperately didn't happen the way that you thought it should have happened. Or you could be working on something, and your kids might come in the room and they might start making a lot of noise and distracting you, and then you start lashing out on them, like, why are you here, I'm trying to work. And you start lashing out on your kids, because what you're doing is you're over prioritizing your work. You're making it more valuable at that point in time than your children. And so you'll lash out at them, and you might hurt them, and you might wound them, because you made your work and your message and your purpose so valuable that the value the importance that you put on it was way too extreme. So now that's pouring out and that's hurting your kids. So that's one example. I mean, I can run a gazillion examples, but that's one example. Or for example, you set a monthly goal, a financial goal for yourself, and it didn't work out. It didn't pan out the way that you wanted it to go, right? And then all of a sudden you start beating yourself up, and you say, oh, you start coming up with all these ideas. Oh, maybe, maybe this, maybe it's not meant to be, maybe it's not, maybe I'm not worthy, maybe my work isn't good enough, maybe, this, that, and the other. And then maybe I just, you just start coming up with all of these things. So again, you over prioritize that goal. You made it extremely important. It became too important to the point where now it's messing with you on an internal level, where it's making you question your worth, making you question your work, making you question your purpose, making you question the things that you should never be questioning, because that you should be solid in who you are, in your worth. You should be solid in your identity. So you shouldn't be questioning those things, right? But you begin to question them because your outcome didn't work out, because you made it such a huge priority that it became too big of a priority, became too big of an importance, that now it's messing up with other things that are more valuable than your purpose work. So it's all an art, you guys. It's all an art. It's an art of setting an intention, setting a goal, setting your priorities in life, but not making them too important to the fact that they began messing with other things that should be in a higher level of importance, such as your worth, such as your relationships, such as your relationship with God, such as your peace. You should not be sacrificing those things for your goals, for your intentions, for your outcomes. So it's really, really important to step back and just analyze the picture, step back and analyze and ask yourself, like, if you find yourself stressing out, if you find yourself under so much pressure, if you find yourself losing peace, if you find yourself just not in a state of alignment, back up and ask yourself, where am I over prioritizing? Where am I putting too much importance? Where am I, saying that this has to be the end all be all? If this doesn't work, then that's it. Because that's what ends up happening, is that when we create our outcome as the end all be all, like, if this doesn't work out, that's it. Like, I'm just gonna, people just go in all different kinds of states, you know and so it's so important to master this art of creating an intention, creating a goal, but then letting go and detaching from it. So you're holding it, you're still holding the vision, you're still holding the goal, but you're detaching from a place of, I don't need this thing to work out. I get to have it work out for me. And if this thing doesn't work out, this or something better gets to come into my life. And if this thing doesn't work out, okay, God, I'm willing to see things differently. I'm open to seeing things differently. Show me a different way. When you come from that aspect, your mind becomes open up to new ideas. It becomes open to new opportunities. It becomes open to new insights, and new things can come in. But when you're so clenched tight, when you're so attached to that outcome, when you're in a place of like, oh my God, this is so important. If this doesn't happen, I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. Like, it just becomes so important to you that you become like this clenched tight person that cannot hear God, that cannot hear insights, that cannot hear new opportunities, that can't see new ways, because that thing is overly important. It's too high on a pedestal in your life. So that's what this whole message is about, you guys. If you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling pressured, back up and ask yourself, where am I over prioritizing? Where am I making things more important than they should be? Because you get to have your outcomes, you get to have your goals. You don't need those things. You are good as you are. You are full. You are content. You are worthy. And you're perfectly exactly where you're at. So back up and ask yourself that question. I love you guys. Go check out the info on my new upcoming course on stepping into your empowered self as a speaker, as a leader, as an empowered teacher. Go check it out. It's in the link in my bio, and I'll see you in the next video.